Twiga Lodge is an excellent camp to access Arusha National Park. We are very excited to explore the park tomorrow, but today we are going to focus on adjusting Sal's valves. There are different ways to do this, so we thought we'd share this video to show you our process. Before diving into the procedure, it's critical to find top dead center. Our preferred method is to get the piston into the compression stroke and confirm the valves are shut. One thing to note when finding TDC, make sure the piston moves in the same direction and does not move backwards. This could activate the auto decompression release on the camshaft and give you an incorrect gap reading. Okay, so I'm adjusting the tappet here. So you loosen the nut, again, it's a 12 millimeter. And then I just put the feeler gauge in between the tappet and the rocker. And so I'm gonna just tighten it to where it's snug. And when you do the valves, it's better to err on the side of loose than tight, so you don't damage your engine. And then you also have to make sure that when you do tighten the locking nut, that it'll probably turn, it will turn the adjusting tappet, the flat tip, it will turn it in a little bit. So you almost want to like keep it just a tiny bit loose, because as you turn the lock nut, it will tend to make it a little bit tighter.
A lot of times you'll just hold the tappet with the screwdriver while you tighten it too, I guess, like at the very end, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't move too much.
Which is now.
Okay, yeah.
And you really want to crank on the locking nut, because that's something you don't want to have come loose.
Yeah.
We're talking like catastrophic engine failure.
This engine actually had a tappet come out. Oh shit, there's the tank.
Okay, got it?
Yeah. Yeah, but a tappet came out of this bike already. And that was...
We were lucky.
Yeah, but I was lucky. That was like the main problem with my bike before we left.
Besides putting in a new...
Yeah, new
clutch.
carburetor when we were here. And
oh yeah, and a new carburetor when we were here. And having your old bike stolen.
But I love this bike.
Okay, we got Sal over here. She is doing the intake right now. See if I can get it in there. Well,
the intake's just 0.10.
It's 0.10. I can't really get a good view on the one she's doing.
It's okay, they know how it goes.
But she is loosening the 12 millimeter locking nut right now. We left the tank on. Believe me, it's easier to do it with this tank off.
Seriously.
Unfortunately, we're burning daylight right now. We don't have any light out here. There's no power in Africa, so or not reliable power. So
it goes out like every hour.
So yeah, we're a little bit of a time crunch. How's it feel? It should drag. It should move.
Yeah.
But quite difficultly.
I think that's good.
Okay. Now, really crank on it when you tighten it, because you don't, like we said, want that to come loose.
I'm just gonna leave the gauge in there because...
Yeah, leaving the gauge in there is fine. I mean, I think that's easier to get it real close. And again, looser is better. Okay, so they were all a bit loose. Sal's putting the valve cover caps on, and that was most likely due to her ovaled emulsion tube from her old carburetor made the bike run extremely rich, so that got a lot of carbon deposits into the engine. And then once we got the new Mikuni pumper carb, and sorted out the jetting on it, it wasn't as rich at that point, so all the carbon deposits disappeared into the oil, and we changed it. Now the oil's looking better. But in the meantime, since the carbon deposits came off of the valves and the valve seats, then it loosened up the valves a little bit.
Like before, when the bike starts the first time in the morning, when it's cold, you can't feel pretty much like any compression. But then as I ride throughout the day, it builds compression, which I now know because it gets hot, so it expands.
Yeah.
and then yeah, so then I could easily find top dead center and start it easier. But without the compression, it's hard to find the right position to do the procedure to start it. So
another note is also when you do these valve caps or inspection caps or whatever you want to call them, usually you have a huge wrench. Well, you don't want to, you don't want to make it too tight. These things barely have to be tight. So it's always good to use the 12-point side. So
is this the right size?
No, it's the wrong side. It's 24. You got the right one.
Oh, just follow.
Yeah. So just put that, but like you're a kid in Little League with a bat, choke up very far on a big wrench like this, because you really just need to just tighten it just a little bit more than finger tight. Actually, they really don't need to be that tight, and that's why people round them off.
Ethan's broke when it was in the first bike shop in South Africa because they probably used this wrench and put their hands on the end.
Yeah, you don't want to use that much leverage.
Yeah. We're just putting the tank back on, and then we're going to, I think, check my electrical, because the only thing that works right now is my thumper jockeys. Actually, only one of them works. So I have some loose wires and my blinkers don't work, or my headlight or tail light. So we're going to see if we can find something loose and get the lights working. Otherwise, we think it's our batteries and we might have to get some new ones made in Rwanda. All right, we're starting it up to see how the valves sound.
Yeah, we're also looking to see if we can find out why the lights aren't working.
Yeah.
It's choking it.
Oh, it's a big B.
On top dead center, which is already easier.
Oh shit, they work. Look. Wait, check them both. Is the front?
They stopped them. Okay, I'm gonna mess around.
Okay. There you go, that's it. It's in there. It might be the ground wire. So we found the short. You can see there's like a little burn mark also, which made it more obvious. Of course, it was all taped up though, so we were just playing around with it and found where it was. So we're just gonna put a new one on. It's kind of exciting because it's the first time we got to use all of our, electrical hooby-doobies. We have like a massive bag of them and we haven't used them, so that's exciting. And I'm gonna have blinkers, which is very exciting. So we're gonna do that. The valves sound good, which is nice. And the bike started easier. And I usually have to leave the choke on for like 5 minutes or so, but we turned the choke off after like 30 seconds and it was fine, so that's cool. So yeah, I'm just gonna fix this and then my bike should be good as new. Just one of my thumper jockey lights wasn't working, and turns out the connector that it comes with was bad on one of the sides, so Ethan just cut that off and exposed the wires and is now just putting a new regular clamp on. It's a hard wire.
Yeah, we're just using a couple crimp connectors.
Yeah, so hopefully
and butt connectors, I think you can call them.
And butt connectors.
Butt end?
Butt end connectors.
There's a butt in there.
Yeah.
Probably an end in there.
So, but everything else is working, so that's good. So, good news.